My name is Lily Pierce. I'm 27 years old. I'm a lay servant in the United Methodist Church, and I have a disability called Friedreich Ataxia that does affect my speech. As you've likely already noticed, the lighting today is so not ideal, but the hourly forecast keeps saying the sun is going to come out and then it doesn't, and I either had to give up or just go with it, so here we are. Today's plant of the day is this little succulent that I got from Queen of Succulents on Etsy.com. And I bought this last April and now it's January, so almost a year ago. And it's one of the few succulents I have that has done really well. What's interesting about succulents is that they have this reputation of being so easy to care for and so undemanding, but
in my experience,
they can be a bit fickle. You don't want to water them too much, but at the same time, I have had issues if I didn't water enough. So, kind of a love-hate relationship with them because they're so much trouble, but they're so darn pretty. So anyway, today's topic is going to be whether Christianity is superficial. There are a lot of misconceptions about Christianity and about religion in general. But I understand why, because so many people are legalistic and condescending, and they seem to care more about the exterior than the interior. Just based on some of the words and the actions of a lot of Christians that we know, it'd be easy to get this oversimplified impression that Christianity is more or less just
following this set of arbitrary rules in exchange for a ticket to heaven.
No. On the contrary, God makes it clear that empty words and actions, those that lack love for God and our neighbors, aka everyone, are meaningless ultimately. There is a concept called letter of the law versus spirit of the law, and that may have some meaning to you if you're a Christian, or if you're not, you may be wondering, what in the world does that mean? Well, essentially, it's comparing what a technical rule or commandment says versus thinking about what is the context of that, and why was it implemented? And based on the answer to those two questions, how should it be implemented right now in different situations? That's the gist of it. So technically, I have already made a video on this topic, but I foresee that I'm going to be making more and more because it is such an integral topic to our faith and our ministry. And legalism, in my opinion, is one of the biggest stumbling blocks in Christianity right now. Well, aside from the fact that we generally support the status quo instead of challenging it, and the fact that it's been infiltrated by questionable ideologies that can even be dangerous. But those are topics for other days and other videos, and in fact other video series. This theme, letter of the law versus spirit of the law, is at the root of why Jesus had such rebukes and condemnations for the Pharisees and the scribes and the lawyers and the other elites. It's also at the root of why so many followers of Jesus from then to now have failed to exemplify his grace and have turned people away instead of embracing them with compassion. In Matthew 15, when the Pharisees are making a big deal of the fact that the disciples ate food without washing their hands first, Jesus comes back to them and says, "It is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but it is what comes out of the mouth that defiles. What comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, and this is what defiles." And in Luke 11, Jesus pretty much goes off on the hypocrisy of the religious elites. "You Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You tithe mint and ruin herbs of all kinds, and neglect justice and the love of God." Who does that remind me of? And if you go back before Jesus, before the Israelites were exiled into Babylon, before the eventual return of a remnant to Jerusalem, before the formation of Pharisees and Sadducees and other religious elites, before Jesus in the Old Testament, this is still an issue. This has always been a problem between God and human beings. The concept of going through the motions without loving God and pursuing God and his ways. God iterates and reiterates through his major and minor prophets of the Old Testament, even through Psalms and a few other examples, that empty sacrifices don't mean anything. And that's going to be the topic of the next installment of this series, by the way. Then and now, the question stands. Is our religion arbitrary or life-altering? Is God the one who drives us day in and day out? Or is he in essence a figurine on the mantle, something distanced and not quite real? Are God's ways known to our minds or engraved upon our hearts? Christians, I pray that you will join me in meditating on these questions. If you found this interesting, I hope you'll stay tuned for more. And otherwise, thank you for listening and God bless you all.